Hi everyone, it's the 10th of September when I started this project, and this is how I will show you how you can recover your imported Hoyas if you receive them dehydrated or severely dehydrated yellowing leaves after a long transit in the shipping. There are two vines, one unpotted, what you're looking at now, and you're also seeing me. And the one on the left side are three platted vines. All of these four vines are from the same Hoya carnosa, which I recently acquired and repotted into lava rock and charcoal. When I brought it home, along my travels, I've understood that I have broken many of its vines. But I kept them on the mother vine, hoping they will heal on its own. Because you guys know, Hoyas do it. They can mend their own breakages in due time. It didn't happen, but it kept dehydrating, and I could identify three vines which I took off and I repotted into this lava rock and charcoal with the top layer of pebbles. But I failed to notice the one vine which was also dehydrating, but maybe I must have thought it'll heal on its own too, which it didn't. So here we are, and I will show you how less you can use fertilizer when recovering your Hoya vines, because these are epiphytes, and as per orchids we use less is more method when it comes to fertilizer, including moderate to low levels of light and a wet and dry cycle. I will show you how you can recover your vines too. With your imported Hoyas, what you must first do is to take them out and lay them somewhere so there will be good air circulation among all structures of those vines or cuttings. Since I already have a specimen that I have recovered, you can be rest assured that this vine will be a recovery too. But how will I do that? Let me show you. The first thing I did after cutting this dehydrated vine off the mother vine was to just hang it inside the rack and let the rain and water fall in it for one day. You can do the same with your cuttings, but not with fertilizer, just water. Once that day passes, you can straight away pot this, and this is the method of recovery which I will show you by taking the steps to pot your vine. To some, this may be a shock, and I know why, especially if you have a lot of yellowing leaves, you will definitely be afraid to pot it straight away. This is where you can take the measure of chopping them into pieces and water propagating too. But here what I will be showing you is a straight media propagation. And you guys know that this does not have a root structure in it, but some aerial roots which are severely dehydrated also, which I need to prompt into developing a full root bulb. If it's a specimen that you will be getting, it will already consist of a full root bulb. In this scenario, you cannot go ahead and insert the whole root bulb into the new substrate, whichever you may be using. Here what you should do is to take off some of the smaller roots but leave the main roots in the plant, so you will be stimulating the roots to grow further. I am advising you to follow this method because your plant has been flown from another country. It's not like you are purchasing it from within the country and changing the substrate. There is a huge difference which you need to understand. Therefore, I need you to use every stimulation method possible when you are rejuvenating your Hoya vine. Similarly to the recovered, I potted the dehydrated Hoya wine too. I gave it some water, but for 2 days I did not flush the wine. For 10 to 11 days, and it's the 21st of September, I did not flush the plant. Finally, I put it under my shower, and once I know I have fully soaked it through, I left the wine on the wet tile floor, and you can use a weight also to get your wine to touch the whole flow of water and rejuvenate or rehydrate its aerial roots. It is highly beneficial that you rejuvenate the aerial roots, where in the future the aerial roots will also help the vine to recover by absorbing nutrients or the energy that you provide from your fertilizer. But here I still have not sprayed any fertilizer. I'm just flushing them and giving it a wet and dry cycle by leaving it on the windowsill for 2 days, then again by flushing it. So I started from only giving it a small amount of water and never flushing it for 11 days. Then I started flushing it, but after I flush it today, I will give it another 2 days of a dry period. Then again, I will let it get soaked through while I'm taking a shower or afterwards, and let the wine be on the tile floor until the tile dries off. Then place it on the windowsill. During this process, you will see some of the leaves dropping off, and it is totally fine. That is because whatever the structures that are dying off, their energy will be absorbed towards the other structures. That's how epiphytes work, and that has been proven scientifically. Therefore, you need not be worried. If you witness some leaves drying off or dropping off, that is due to the leaf blade being damaged when handling and breaking from the petiole or the base. If you are seeing the main leaves turning its color, do not worry about some of the other leaves dropping off. The Hoya vine has a process of recovery, and that process takes some time. Now you are seeing how the vine will be dropping over the windowsill and be exposed to all the natural elements. Now is the time also for you to fertilize with some high phosphorus fertilizer for the good ability of root growth. Now you are seeing the vine on the 27th of September. Another 6 days passed, and I can see more greenery or more chlorophyll coming into the leaves. It is not as well as the recovered vine, but there is definite signs of improvement. Now it's the 30th of September, and I'm showing you guys that in case if you're not able to get them down and put it under your shower, you can fill in the tray at the bottom of the pot, or keep a tray at the bottom of the pot and fill it in with water or the nutrition, so it will have more drinkable time, and this clay pot would not be wicking it out so soon, especially when clay is extremely porous. If you're using clay pots for your recovery, this is a point which you must remember. You have to give it extra moisture or use ceramic, plastic or other pots to ease your life in the recovery process. And as the last part of my vlog, it's the 4th of October and the vine has finally recovered. You cannot see that luscious green still, but however, despite 1 or 2 leaves dropping off, the vine as an epiphyte recovered very well. To keep this video short, I will summarize this quickly. When you receive an import, make sure you give it a lot of air time before thinking about spraying some water on it, and do not dunk the vines in full water, which will further stunt or stress your vine. I know a lot of guys have advised that on YouTube also. I myself, as a personal method, would not be using the whole vine being dunked unless it's a new vine which is very healthy, that I'm changing the substrate, or that I'm getting rid of some root mealy issue where I'll be dunking it in full pesticide or fungicide that I will be using according to the ailment it is facing. Second of all, you guys need to be careful when you pot it. First, make a cut and see if the stem is totally dried out or if it has life in it. If it has totally dried off, you have to go into a quick damage control, chop it off and water propagate it. Okay. It's the same thing that I have done by rejuvenating my vines in the water. And after you decide on potting, better give it a wet and dry cycle. More towards the dry, and you can spray water onto the leaves and the vine, along the vine, if you cannot put that under a shower, if you do not have time. Just like I showed you, you can also use that water tray method. Because clay is extremely porous, the water in that tray also will be dried off pretty soon. That's what I have witnessed. I actually felt like I should have a bigger tray underneath my pot, but the vine took it well and that was sufficient enough. If you feel you can use a bigger pot and the roots are not as much as touching the water, you can go ahead and do that, but make sure you do not drown your water in that tray that you keep underneath your pot. After a while, approximately a week, you can flush it under a water. If you can at least flush it with water once a week, that would be more than enough. This is where you can add fertilizer into the mix too. If you're flushing it today, day after tomorrow, you can give it some fertilizer. Like that, you can simultaneously give fertilizer and water at the same time, incorporating a wet and dry cycle into the recovery of your vine. Once you see very healthy greenery in your vine, do not meddle with it. That's the main thing I have to tell you. Do not go to check the roots, do not go to see how it's doing, do not go to show your friends. Leave it be, right? Do not disturb the recovery process. Once you recover, you can go back to your normal routine that you use with your other Hoyas, and you already know that you do not have any fungal or pest issues. You can incorporate the new Hoyas also into your collection. I'll end the video here before it gets too long. I hope I showed you everything that is needed for the recovery method. If you have any questions, please do drop a comment, guys. And anyone is welcome to question me and challenge me. Please do so. I will back again with another useful Hoya video. Until such time, bye bye.